matter what. It could be raining out, and he'd get down the track somehow. And we've seen Forrest do that. And but like you said, there's not a lot of guys that are the real. I guess in aviation, Chuck Yeager. He wasn't an astronaut; he flew the plane. Shirl Greer was a pilot. He was a true driver, and it just it impresses me. And every time I've ever been around around Van, I think we always give each other a hug and talk about him a little bit. And God bless you, he was still around then, and I never got to see him. He didn't want to see those nasty nitrous cars. I wished he did.
He didn't get into the bracket racing too much.
Well, I know it. And
so I like the Ford. So,
well, I'll tell you what, Steve, what a pleasure to have you call in and
well, thank you, Wally. Thanks so much for your show and what you're doing, and certainly tribute to Shirl. And the newcomers to this industry don't realize that Shirl changed the pistons on that car between every round. He also drove the tow truck every race. I mean, it was truly a one-man band, and again, just total dedication. We all of us who have made a living in the sport, pioneers like Shirl Greer, because if it weren't for guys like him, we would not be where we are today.
Well,
thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
And Steve, I'll come by and buy your lunch someday if I'm heading that way. Can I do that?
We got the best fried chicken in the Southeast.
You got it. We'll got it. Thanks for calling.
Right, thank you, Wally. All right, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Wally, I'd like to go on record and let everybody know, too. People don't realize that Steve Earwood is the man that gave Dad the nickname the Old Champ. We actually had it, it's actually painted on the hood of the car the year after he won the championship. And we owe a lot to Steve Earwood. He's always been good to our family, and he's always treated us good every time we raced at his track. So he's done a lot for the sport, and everybody owes a lot of thanks to Steve Earwood.
There's no doubt about it. Every time people look at that new Taj Mahal drag strip in Charlotte, hell, I'd much rather go over to my friend Steve Earwood's track in Rockingham, and I guarantee you that track does just as well. And Steve has been a magnificent guy in the sport of drag racing, no doubt about it.
Hey, Wally, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Hey guys, this is Jeff. On your father's background, and I've heard several different, some conflicting stories about where he was born. And I saw something today that said that he may have been, was he actually born in Scott County, Virginia?
Yes, that's right, Jeff. He was born in a little place called, they called it Copper Creek, Virginia. And I think Van would know more than me. I think, what was he, about 10 or 11 years old, I think, when they moved to Kingsport, wasn't he, brother? Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
See, that's
down to Bloomingdale.
How about that? That's what I thought. And so tell me, where did Warner Robins, Georgia, come in? Where did that all come from?
Well, Dad was working at a glass plant, and he was racing at the time. Had cleaned up match races all around this area, and him and a friend of his by the name of Cotton Jones, they decided they were going to race their way to California because that was like the motherland, that racing all year long, and they wanted to try to go out there and get some money. And they left Kingsport, and there was a big race in Amarillo, Texas that weekend, and a big race in Warner Robins, Georgia that weekend. I think both paid about the same amount of money. And Dad said they stopped around Knoxville and flipped a coin. Ended up going to Warner Robins, Georgia, and a gentleman by the name of Troy Shuttlesworth, that they called the Witch Doctor. He used to travel around and put spells on people. Yep. Dad was staging up next to him. He introduced Dad to my mother on a blind date, and other than going out there and winning the championship and racing in California, I mean, that's as close as he got. He never did relocate. He didn't make it from Kingsport to Warner Robins. And he stayed there for like 20 years. So I guess if it had landed on tails or opposite of whatever it landed on, I wouldn't be here today.
That's cool, man.
That's a great story, Jeff. Man, that's great stuff.
Thank you, guys.
Brian, back when I first knew your dad, I always thought he was a Georgia boy too. And but that's a great story. Hell, now Copper Creek, is that a long ways from Tennessee or fairly close?
No, it's about 20 miles.
Oh, okay. So that
it wasn't far at all.
Yep. I was going to say. Now, they in your area up there or out over into Copper Creek, do they make soda pop by hand over there that people can buy and consume?
I think so. I don't know much about that, but I'm sure they do.
There's been talk about it, hasn't there, over the years?
Yeah.
And that's one thing about it. You know, if you're a racer, you're too damn busy to even know about it anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of foolish, but well, Brian Greer, I want to tell you something. You're a tough customer. If you went into the pool on the deep end and got no help from anybody getting out, Van, were you around when that happened?
Yeah, I'm sure I was there. Because I think it was when Steve was talking about, we went to a bunch of TV spots around here today in Gainesville, Orlando, where he was going to do and displaying the car, and Dad was doing TV. We unloaded the car and loaded it back up 3 or 4 times. I'm pretty sure that's the same trip. See, I was there. I was probably hanging around with Dad and them, watching them drink.
What happened is I had one of those styrofoam round tube floats on. I've been swimming all day. My underarms were raw. It's just like, you know, when you wear a hat all day and you take your hat off, you still feel like you got your hat on. I was running and jumping in the deep end. I forgot I didn't have my tube on until I hit the bottom of the pool. And I guess everybody thought I was just playing around, you know, so I don't know. God was with me that day for sure, because I sure thought I was going to die.
Oh, God. Well, we've got another caller on the line, guys, so hold tight. We've got a friend of Greg Zala's on the line, Norman Hechtoff. How are you, Norman?
Okay. I'm his friend if that's the real Greg Zeiler and not an impersonator.
Thanks, Norman.
Oh, boy.
I just wanted to say something about my experience with, I'm so bad, with
Shirl?
With Shirl Greer. Yeah, I mean, never get old. I met Shirl a number of times, and it was always, he came to the Indy Memorabilia Show, he came a few times, he came to Englishtown one time when I was selling. He's one of the few people that found me that year. And he always came by, he was always really a super gentleman. He was always, and he was a great customer too, in that he knew what he wanted, and I'll get into that in a second. Only one particular thing. And unlike some racers who think basically you should give them something because they once were a drag racer, Shirl, he would, you know, if I had what he wanted, well, he asked me the price, and I'll tell him the price, and I'll give him some kind of discount usually, and he was happy. I mean, the thing, and the interesting thing is what he always asked for. And he kept buying them, was the Superstock magazine that covered the 1966 Superstock Nationals on Long Island. And he had won one of the eliminators there. And he always bought that, and he was very proud of that. And from what I gathered, he had traveled up there, and nobody knew who he was. In fact, I was there at that race on Saturday night, and I didn't know which the car was. It was just this thing that said Tension. I think it already had the shortened trunk on it. But he went out. He beat a lot of cars that were far better known in his class and in the Eliminator, and he was quite proud of that, and rightly so. And it was always a pleasure to see Shirl, and I miss him.
Well, that's a nice compliment, Norman, and a nice recollection of how Shirl really was. And listen, thank you for calling. We're going to have to cut you short, Norman, because we're running out of time. But thank you. Call anytime.
Thanks, Norm.
Okay. Bye-bye, Greg. Call me later, Greg.
Thank you, Norman.
All right.
You know what, guys? Wherever you go or wherever you do go in the future, you're going to hear great stories about Shirl Greer. It's got to make you proud to have the years you had with the old champ, and I know you miss him, and keep that going forever, because you were very fortunate to have a father like him. You know.
Yeah, I'll agree totally.
And listen, Brian, you gotta get on YouTube. We're gonna get 1 million hits when you do that funny car firing up, burnout. You get on YouTube, and we'll make sure we promote that. And I want to buy one of your T-shirts, so I'll find you somewhere.
Well, you guarantee it.
Thank you, brother. I'm trying to get the tears out of my eyes. Oh, Norm, that was pretty humbling stuff he just said.
Oh, sure was. It was.
I hear people talk like that about Dad.
You know, Norm is, he's a straight shooter. They don't come any finer. And like I told Wally, he's a walking encyclopedia, Norm Hechtoff. And he's met all these guys, and he's been around for a long time. And I wish him well, because he's battling some health problems right now. But, you know, when he tells a story like that, it does tug at your heart.
It does. And believe me, the one thing I respect about Norm, he has opinions, and by God, he sticks with them. And but listen, I got to let you and Van go, Brian. But I want you to end this the way Jeff Gilder wants it ended. I don't want you to say good night. I just want you, Brian, to do one more burnout, and we're going to do this again someday soon. But do that burnout, and we'll let you two guys go.
My goodness. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's great.
Awesome. Awesome. God, I love
Thank you, guys. It was truly an honor.
Oh, it was a great show.
Everybody keep up with us on Facebook.
Okay.
Gotta do it.
We're gonna crank the car up. We're gonna have a cackle at Dad's house on his birthday.
All right. Yeah, make sure you take video of that.
Yeah, we'll make sure and keep up with us on Facebook. Everybody come out. Everybody's welcome. And we got a car show for Ted Jones in Father's Day weekend, Friday and Saturday. We're going to take it down to I think it's the Millennium Park in Knoxville. At the Ted Jones Auto Fair. We're going to do a little display down there and crank it up down there. He's going to have 2 lucky people, and whoever wins the drawing on the radio is going to get to sit in the car while we crank it.
Well, you got it. And
then tell them to come by and see us at Bristol on Sunday after that, where we'll be giving away the 3rd annual Shirl Greer Old Champ's Choice Award. So you have to kind of come show up at the racetrack to see who we picked to be the recipient. But it's always been a good deal with that ever since we started, and we really enjoyed doing it. And thank you, everybody, for calling in and everybody listening. God bless you all, and thank you most of all for remembering the old champ.
Love you guys. Be good.
Thank you.